It's a fact. Violence is on the rise across the United States. In the past 5 years, homicides have tripled. These statistics are expected to only get higher. Counterattactics is an effort to beat these statistics. This video will attempt to prepare you for a violent attack we hope never occurs. Counterattactics was designed by two of the country's top experts on human behavior and self-defense. Dr. James Rascott is a Minneapolis-based social psychologist and a national expert on human behavior. He'll teach you how to stay out of dangerous situations and how to recognize, understand, and react to dangerous people. Kansas City native Bob Thurman was the Professional Karate Association Super Middleweight World Champion from 1982 through 1989. Nicknamed Thunder, fight analysts call him the ultimate fighting machine. Bob will share his knowledge of the martial arts with you in simple, easy-to-learn karate techniques. Counterattactics will reduce your risk of becoming a statistic.
Have you ever thought about being a victim of a violent crime? Do you think it would change your life? I think it would. My wife was a victim. A violent criminal robbed her and shot her in the head. Luckily, she fully recovered. I don't want you to suffer like we have. This is why I created Counterattactics, the ultimate in personal protection. When I set out to design the program, I called Dr. James Rascott in Minneapolis. I told him I wanted to design a complete personal protection system that utilizes a person's two strongest weapons, the mind and the body. The training system is designed for people of all ages. It's for people with no training in the martial arts. Counterattactics is for anyone who's tired of being afraid.
As Bob told you, Counterattactics deals with two factors, your mind and your body. Your mind has the ability to foresee, understand, and avoid possibly dangerous situations. Staying out of these situations is always better than trying to escape these situations. I will be giving you some very important information and some very effective rules that may someday save your life. There are 6 rules of awareness. The first rule is always be aware of where you are. Recognize potentially dangerous situations, for instance, isolated areas like if you're out in the woods or you're out in the country or business areas where nobody is at night. These are all high crime areas or high risk areas. There's no one around to help you if something goes wrong. Think about at least one escape route at all times. Know where you are and who is around you. Be aware of your surroundings. The second rule is simple. There is strength in numbers. Attackers look for isolated people. They look for something quick, easy, and low risk. Being alone gives the attacker the perfect opportunity to attack you. Think about where you're going and if you need to take someone with you. The third rule is darkness is the attacker's friend. Try to stay in lighted areas if you can. If you're going to walk or jog in the evening, go close to the street facing oncoming traffic. Carry a flashlight if possible. Darkness gives the attacker a place to hide and a place to escape. Rule number 4. Check your car before getting inside. Try not to park in shadows or isolated areas. Try to park so you can see around your car. Check the car next to yours also. Always check your car and the car around you to see if someone is hiding in the car before you get in. The fifth rule is to keep in mind that attackers depend on you being alone, afraid, and confused. You must create confusion, noise, and unexpected reactions. Confuse them, for instance, by acting like you don't understand. Make them react in a different way than they had planned. They've got it all planned out. Turn it around on them. You act differently, and they have to react to you. The last rule is use your mind and your body. They are always with you. These are the 2 weapons that no one can take away from you. Other weapons can be taken away from you and used against you. For instance, if you have a knife, a gun, a mace, they can take them away from you and use them against you, and it'll hurt you. The other reason you shouldn't rely on other weapons is that they may not be available. Maybe you forgot them at home. Maybe you can't get to your purse. You just can't get to them. You can't use them. Train your mind and your body because you'll never be without them. Now I want to talk to you about the 4 elements of an assault and how to stop each element from happening. When a criminal sets out to attack someone, he looks for an opportunity. He needs certain elements to make an attack happen. Criminals will wait until these elements are in their favor before they attack you. They need to control all 4 basic elements in order to successfully attack you. You've got to keep control of at least one of these elements in order to escape. The first element of an assault is the attacker. He's the person who has decided to violate another person. Your goal is to stay away from these people as much as you can. The attacker has to pick you, so don't be around when he's looking for a victim. The second element is the victim, the person the attacker has selected to violate. Your goal is to appear to be a difficult target. The weaker people in our society are victimized more often than the stronger people. Criminals are cowards who pick on people they can easily victimize. If they think you're a high risk to them, they will go on to an easier target. The third element of an assault is the meeting. The attacker must hunt and contact his victim. Your goal is to eliminate the meeting or keep it under your control. Interact with people you desire and get away from unwanted meetings. For instance, strangers in cars, shopping centers, strangers in bars. If you don't like the meeting, leave. The last element of an assault is the place. The attacker must have a place to violate the victim. Your goal is simple. Never leave a safe place with an attacker. This is the final element and the one you usually have the most control over. One of the biggest problems an attacker has is getting you to a place where he feels he can safely attack you. If you go with him now, he controls all of the elements. Remember, he has to control all 4 of these elements to carry out an assault. So if you keep control of at least one of these elements, the attack can't take place. Your goals are to not look like a victim, control the meeting, and never leave a safe place. Increase your awareness of your surroundings and you will increase your safety. Be aware of the people around you. Also be aware of your space bubble. This is the area around your body as you move through society. We allow people we like to get physically closer to us than people we don't like. In our society, we have 4 areas that make up our space bubble. First of all, we have our intimate zone, which is 1 foot away from our bodies. Then we have the personal zone, which is 1 to 2 feet away from our bodies. Then we have the social zone, which is 2 to 4 feet from our bodies. And finally, we have a public zone, which is 4 feet or farther from our bodies. The space bubble is your private space, and you should protect it. No one has a right to enter this space without your permission. Obviously, it's impossible to keep this space to ourselves all the time. For instance, when we get in elevators, when we're standing in lines, when we're in crowds, people are in our space zone. But always try to be aware of who's in your space bubble. You need this awareness because the closer someone is to you, the less time you have to react to them. If you think you're going to be attacked, try to keep the criminal out of this space. This space bubble is your cushion. In a few minutes, Bob will show you how to keep people out of your space bubble by using simple footwork and body movements. His techniques will give you more time to think and more time to react while keeping the attacker away from you. If the criminal has any weapon other than a gun, he has to get inside your space bubble in order to hurt you. By keeping him outside of it, you're buying yourself time. There are two basic psychological strategies to think about during an attack: the cooperative and the uncooperative. The uncooperative strategy is just that. You let the criminal know he has chosen the wrong person to victimize. The uncooperative strategy sends a message to the attacker that you are not going to give up control of your life without resistance. You do not obey his commands. The best time to use the uncooperative strategy is when you still control at least one element of the assault. When using this strategy, speak in a strong, confident voice, get ready for an attack, and show the criminal that he's taking a high risk in dealing with you. Remember, this uncooperative strategy is conflict-oriented. It forces the attacker to decide instantly whether to leave or whether to attack you. It is used when you want to force his hand, when you control one or more elements, or when it is your last resort to save your life. The cooperative strategy, on the other hand, is when you appear to go along with some of the attacker's demands. You basically let him think he has control of the situation. Use the cooperative strategy when you have lost all four of the elements of the assault and when you need time to think about your options. Talk to him, ask him questions, buy time so you can assess the situation. There are some key points to keep in mind with the cooperative strategy. First, make the attacker think you are not resisting. He may get overconfident and drop his guard. Remember, always use this cooperative strategy until he demands you give up the four elements or until he physically touches you. Then you fight for your life. All human behavior is goal-oriented and it fulfills some need for that person. Humans have three basic needs. Understanding these three needs will help you understand why people act and how to react to them. Three human needs are physical, mental, and social needs. First, let's talk about the physical needs. This is when the attacker needs your valuables to buy drugs, food, car, and so forth. These people are usually not conflict-oriented. If you give them your valuables, they'll leave because they got what they came for. Our second set of needs are our mental needs. These are feelings of importance, our ego, and feelings of self-worth. Unlike the people with physical needs, mental attackers' needs are never satisfied. These attackers are generally very dangerous and violent individuals. Their goals are usually to dominate, to control, to injure, and to demean their victims. They do this in order to increase their own self-worth and self-evaluation. The more people they knock down, the higher they feel. The third group of needs is our social needs. These needs are to belong to a group and to be accepted by other people. Some people commit crimes and injure people to satisfy their peers. A lot of violence that is caused by social needs is gang-related. The victims are chosen at random solely because they're in the wrong place at the wrong time. Understanding these needs will help you identify your attacker and thus help you determine how to react to his demands. Finally, I want to talk about the four basic rules of survival. Countertactics has four mental steps to help you think your way through an attack. These four steps will help you determine your realistic options at the time of an attack. We call them the four basic rules of survival. Rule number one is keep thinking positively. Don't think about the negatives. It wastes your valuable time and it doesn't help you escape. Concentrate on an escape plan. Get control of your space, appear to be confused. All of this will buy you time to assess the situation. Rule number two is analyze the attacker. What does he want? You or your possessions? Remember the three basic needs. Listen to what your gut instinct tells you about him. Ask questions. What do you want? Does he keep changing his demands? What will satisfy him? If he wants your valuables, give them to him. If he wants you, the answer is no. Rule number 3 is your escape strategy. Look at your realistic options. Look at all your options. Look for weapons lying on the ground. Look for people who can help you. Look for escape routes. Be prepared to act or attack. Rule number 4 is attack and escape. Napoleon said surprise is a key to winning the battle. Surprise will become your partner. When you attack, make noise, scream, create a scene. When you attack, be mean and attack with intentions of hurting him so you can escape. Remember these rules, review them, think about them as you go through your daily functions. They all play a part in keeping you out of dangerous situations. Now Bob is going to show you some physical ways to protect yourself if you do get involved in these dangerous situations.
To present the counterattactics techniques, we will show them being learned in a seminar situation and being individually demonstrated by Bob. As the moves are being demonstrated, follow along. If needed, stop or rewind the tape to get the hang of certain techniques. In this section, we'll first break down each martial arts technique. Later, we'll show you how to apply them in different attack situations. The first set of techniques you are going to learn are for attacks coming at you from the front. To defend yourself, you will first need to learn how to step into a good fight stance. It will enable you to strike harder and maintain good balance. The first position to assume is called the neutral position. Stand normal with your feet shoulder-width apart and your weight even on both sides. From this neutral position, you can step forward or step back into a fight stance. How you assume a fight stance will depend on whether you are left or right-handed. If you're going to hit someone, you need to hit him with your dominant side. In order to do this, remember to carry your car keys, purse, or grocery sacks on the opposite side. The dominant hand must be kept free to fight with if you're attacked. To get into the fight stance from the neutral position, if you're a right-hander, step back with your right foot and put the ball of your foot at the 5 o'clock position. Keep the ball of your left foot on the 12 o'clock position. Your weight should be 60% on the front foot and 40% on the rear foot. If you're a left-hander, put the right ball of your foot on the 12 o'clock position. Then step back and put the ball of your left foot on the 7 o'clock position. Again, 60% of your weight is on the back foot and 40% of your weight is on the front. Remember to keep your back heel raised off of the floor. In this fight stance, your dominant foot will always be the one in the rear. Your feet need to be apart about 6 inches longer than a normal step. Always stand sideways so that your lead shoulder is to the attacker. This will expose less of your body to him. Remember that the weight is on the balls of the feet. Your dominant hand is in the rear. Your fists are clenched, and the elbows are close to protect your body. Keep your hands at this position until you begin to attack. It will help you maintain a clear vision of what is going on around you. When you begin to attack, raise your hands and put them in front of your face with the palms in facing each other. You should be able to stick your thumbs into your eyes. This is called the gun sight position. Stay in the gun sight position and practice blocking imaginary punches. Throughout the rest of the video, concentrate on keeping your hands up to protect yourself as you practice each technique. Out of the basic fight stance, you will move into the seesaw fight stance. We call it this because it's like a seesaw. In it, your weight will shift from one side to the other. If you are left-handed, with your left foot on the 6 o'clock position, step with your right foot to the 1 o'clock position with fists clenched and elbows in, protecting your body. If you're right-handed, put your right foot on the 6 o'clock position, and with your left foot, step to the 11 o'clock position with elbows in, protecting the body. Remember to keep your fists clenched and always keep your arms vertical with the elbows pointing toward the ground. Be sure you can see what is going on through the arms. Also, make sure your back heel is raised off the floor. Practice moving into the seesaw fight stance. Step forward and backward. Make the move smoothly. Weight is 60% on forward leg and 40% on rear leg. Hands are clenched in fists with elbows in, protecting the body. They must be ready to move up to the gun sight position at any moment. The back heel of the foot should be raised. Knees should be slightly bent. From the seesaw stance, you are ready to learn the first hand strike, which is called the straight punch. It's a punch you're probably very familiar with. Again, throw it with your dominant hand. From the seesaw stance, put your hands up like you're blocking a punch. Remember the gun sight position. You should be able to stick your thumbs into your eyes. Your palms will be in, facing each other. The straight punch travels in a straight line. As you throw the punch, the arm and hand twist, so that at the end of the punch, the palm will be facing down. The forward shoulder drops 2 inches as you extend your arm. Keep the elbow in and throw the punch. As you punch, push off with the back heel to increase the power. It is important to make a tight fist by folding the fingers up and wrapping the thumb around them. Strike with the first 2 knuckles. It will make your punch more effective. Practice throwing the punch with speed and power. Imagine an attacker in front of you. Throw punch as straight as possible. Keep forward hand up to protect yourself. Push off with the back heel to increase power. Strike with the first 2 knuckles and a tight fist. The next hand strike is the palm heel strike. For women, this is a much more effective strike than the straight punch. In counter-tactics, you're going to learn the palm heel strike in 3 ways. Start in the neutral position. Hold your hands up about head height and hold your hands close enough so you could stick your thumbs in your eyes. Turn your palms so they are facing out. Notice where your hand and wrists meet. This is called the palm heel. With your palms facing out, reach and smack the attacker with your dominant hand. Keep your other to protect yourself. This is a great technique to use if a criminal jumps right in front of you. By having your hands up, you can block the punch and are in a ready position, able to strike back. Also, scream when you strike. It makes the strike more powerful. Imagine the target as an attacker's nose. Be sure to keep the fingers back to really expose the palm heel. By having the fingers back, you can also disrupt the attacker's vision by performing what we call an eye rake. Practice starting this move from the neutral position. Get used to making noise as you work on strikes. Hands are up in front of the face. Shove the palm heel into the attacker's nose or face. Keep your fingers back for an eye rake. The second way the palm heel strike can be used is from the seesaw fight stance to strike an attacker's head. From the seesaw, you can double the power of your strike. From the neutral position, step back into the seesaw fight stance and move your forward hand up to protect yourself. Take your dominant hand and stick your arm straight out with the palm facing up. Pull your elbow in so it's resting against your rib cage. Now visualize a can of soda pop is sitting on your hand. As you strike, the elbow stays in. The thumb turns in and the imaginary can of soda pop you had setting on your hand smashes into the attacker's nose. The strike needs to travel in a straight line at an upward trajectory. Keep your fingers bent back so you can perform an eye rake. You'll notice that when you strike, the weight travels from your rear leg to your forward leg. It's very important to push off with that rear leg. Let your weight shift in the seesaw naturally. Use it to your advantage. The strike must travel straight and up. Keep the elbow in tight. Keep your forward hand up for protection. Keep your fingers bent back for an eye rake. Let the weight transfer happen naturally. Push off with the rear leg to increase power. The palm heel groin strike can be a very effective technique. It's similar to the palm heel head strike. Once again, step back into the seesaw fight stance. Put the rear hand into the same position used for the head strike. Now, instead of striking upward, strike at a downward trajectory. Think of it like throwing a bowling ball. Practice aiming for an imaginary attacker's groin. This could be the move that buys you an escape. Work on speed and power. Bring the hand back to get more power. Slam the technique into the imaginary target. Bring the strike up and into the groin. The palm heel strike works well in combinations. Try attacking with a palm heel head strike, then come back with a groin strike. Practice reversing the move. Attack the groin and then the head. The next technique is called the grab and knee. This is a very powerful technique. The targets are the knees, thighs, groin, stomach, and head. Grabbing the attacker before kneeing him will help you maintain balance, and more importantly, will make the strike more powerful. When kneeing an attacker, always make sure to do it at least twice to ensure a solid strike. From your seesaw fight stance, pretend to reach out and grab an imaginary attacker. Lean forward and slowly drive your knee. Keep your support leg bent to help maintain balance. Remember, there are several targets. The thigh is the biggest and easiest to hit. Practice throwing knees to different targets of an imaginary attacker. The knee should be thrown fast and snapped into the attacker. When practicing, remember, the power will be there. Concentrate on speed. Always grab the attacker to ensure full power. Snap the knee into the attacker. Keep the support leg bent for balance. Now, let's combine some of what we've learned. Assume the seesaw fight stance. Hands in, protecting your body, and your fists clenched. Now, strike with a palm heel to the head. Come back with one to the groin. Follow up with a grab and 2 knees. Practice this a number of times. It's important to learn combinations with at least 3 things. It could ensure your escape from an attacker. The last technique for frontal attacks is the rear leg front snap kick. This kick will keep your attacker at a distance. It also comes in under his line of sight. Your target is the groin. Assume the seesaw fight stance, elbows in and fists clenched. Take the knee of your rear leg and bring it straight up. Then snap your knee and extend the ball of your foot into an imaginary attacker's groin. As you do this, bring your hands up to the gun sight position to protect your head. Be sure to raise your rear heel off the ground for more power. Practice being explosive with the motion. Remember, make noise when you kick. Bring hands up to gun sight position. Bring knee up as high as possible. Be explosive in the motion. Snap the ball of the foot. The rear leg front snap kick can be excellent in a combination move. Perform the kick. Then grab and knee 2 times. The rear leg snap kick is a great way to begin an attack because it closes the distance between you and an attacker, putting you in better position for the grab and knee. Now that you've learned the weapon techniques for frontal attacks, it's important to learn how to move properly. Being able to move and shift into a seesaw fight stance will always put you in a better position to attack or defend from. Assume the seesaw fight stance. Pivot on the forward leg. Swing the rear leg around 1/4 turn. While you rotate, be sure to keep your hands up and the rear heel off the floor. Basically, you're just rotating on the ball of the forward foot, much like the pivot of a basketball player. Practice doing 4 quarter turns in a full 360-degree rotation. Concentrate on doing the rotations smoothly and quickly. Pivot on the ball of the forward leg. Keep hands in gun sight position. Practice moving either direction quickly. Keep footwork light and easy. Always end in seesaw fight stance. Now try to combine the footwork with some of the frontal techniques. Perform a quarter turn rotation. Then strike with a straight punch. Now follow this with a rear leg front snap kick. Then grab and knee 2 times. Try to make your motions fluid, light, and easy. Not all attacks come at your front. Rear attacks can catch you off guard. Many attacks come from the rear. Practice making these techniques instinctive. The hammer fist is an effective way to defend and escape an over-the-arm bear hug. Assume the neutral position with your arms at your sides and fists clenched. Imagine you have a hammer in your dominant hand. Keep your elbow at your side and strike down with your imaginary hammer. Use the bottom of your hand to strike with. Always strike twice and quickly. Keep in mind this technique only works when you are being held above the elbows. You must keep them at your sides to practice this correctly. Try the move with both hands. Keep fists clenched tight. Always strike twice. Snap the hand quickly. Another technique for rear attacks is the foot stomp. Performed correctly, it can take an attacker out by itself. From the neutral position, raise your right or left knee up as high as possible with your toe pointed. Then stomp down. Use your heel and aim for the middle of the shin. This way, if you miss the attacker's shin, you'll most likely get the foot. Practice the foot stomp.
Okay.
Always
Right
strike
leg.
twice
Ready?
and
Stomp.
quickly.
Good. Left leg. Ready? Stomp. Good.
Bring knee up high, toe pointed. Use your heel. Always stomp twice if possible. Be prepared to follow up with a combination. Another technique for rear attacks is the headbutt, a very powerful attack. The power is generated from the strength in your legs. Don't be worried about getting hurt. An attacker could do far worse than give you a bump on the head. Imagine an attacker has you in a chokehold or a bear hug. From the neutral position, drop your chin to your chest. Bend your knees, and in one powerful motion, snap your head back and straighten your legs. Make sure to extend your weight to your toes. Practice powerful, quick motions. Bring the chin to your chest. Snap the head back and straighten legs simultaneously. Try to use the headbutt in combination with a foot stomp. From the neutral position, perform a foot stomp. Come down hard and low on the attacker's foot. Then explode up, snapping your head back and straightening your legs at the same time into an imaginary attacker's face. Then follow this with 2 quick hammer fists. Clear your throat is a specific technique for a rear chokehold. This technique will allow you to breathe in this situation. Always clear your throat from the same side you're being choked from. If an attacker is choking with his right, clear your throat with your right hand and vice versa. All you're trying to do is get your fingers between his hand and your throat. Don't try to pull his arm, just buy yourself breathing room. As you clear your throat, step to the side you're clearing from. Clear to your left, step to your left. As you do this, squat down and lean forward to help maintain your balance. Practice the technique to both sides.
Reach up. Clear throat right. Step right.
Clear from the same side attacker is choking. Don't try to pull hand away. Step to the same side you're clearing from. Squat low and lean forward. Keep your weight even on both legs. The rear elbow strike is a good rear attack technique. It's best used in combination with a clear your throat. From your neutral position, clear your throat right. Then step to the right, squat low and lean forward. Take your left arm and extend it as if reaching for a file cabinet. Make a fist with the palm facing the floor. Now bring your arm back as if opening a file cabinet. As you do this, twist your arm counterclockwise. As your elbow gets to your side, your palm will be facing up. Keep the arm close to your body and pull the elbow back and into an imaginary attacker's ribs. Practice this move again. Now go back to the neutral position. This time, clear your throat left. Step left, squat low and lean forward. Take your right arm and reach for the file cabinet, palm down. Clench your fist and bring your arm back while twisting clockwise. Keep your elbow close and drive it into the attacker's midsection. Make noise. This is a powerful move. Keep elbow close to the body. Keep the fist clenched tightly. Clear the throat opposite the striking side. The head strike is equally powerful. Instead of a file cabinet, with this move, imagine you're starting a lawnmower. Assume the neutral position with your arms at your side. Bend forward and reach down with your right arm. Now pull your elbow up and back as if starting a lawnmower. The palm of your hand should face you. The elbow should travel upward and strike over your right shoulder. Now try this with your left hand. Use your legs for power here. Practice the move with both arms. Concentrate on speed. Keep your weight forward. Lower yourself with your legs, then bend forward. Use your legs to drive the elbow. Fighting from the ground can be a difficult position. It's a tough position to defend yourself from. But even here, you must continue to battle. You can still use everything we've taught you. Also try biting, clawing, and grabbing and tearing. Anything to get loose. The best technique from the ground is the foot stomp. Get on your back and pull one knee toward your chest. Keep your hands in the gun sight position. Thrust your foot out, heel first, and strike an imaginary attacker. Once you've gained separation, roll onto your stomach and get up. Then run. Practice the foot stomp from the ground with both legs. Work on rolling to your stomach and getting up quickly. Gain separation. Roll onto your stomach to get up. Run.
Bob has shown you some very effective techniques in dealing with a frontal attack. In a moment, you'll learn how to use these techniques in different situations. In most frontal attacks, you usually have time to consider your options. Think about what the attacker wants. Does he want your valuables or does he want you? Decide whether to use the cooperative or uncooperative strategy. Always keep thinking positively. Buy time to look for an escape route. Remember, if the attacker grabs you, counterattack immediately. Scream, make noise, draw attention to yourself. Attack with hostile intentions. Anything to get away. Remember, if you hesitate or go half speed, you may become a victim.
In counterattactics, we teach 3 frontal attacks. When an attacker is in your space bubble and is about to hit or grab you. When an attacker grasps your wrist, and when an attacker has hold of your throat. In any attack situation, you need to move to the best defense position possible and attack the second he enters your space. The first example shows an attacker within someone's space bubble making demands. Our participant is using a cooperative strategy.
Attack!
Please, please, please don't hurt me, please!
She did a great job. With her cooperative strategy, she kept her hands up. She begged the attacker not to hurt her, putting him at ease and off guard. From her neutral position, she slammed a palm heel into his head. She then stepped into a seesaw and hit him with a more powerful palm heel head strike. Caught off guard, he was knocked back and she was able to escape. In this next situation, the attacker makes the first move.
Attack! Come on! Fun! Alright, good.
As he attacked, notice how he snapped back into the seesaw fight position. He countered with a palm heel to the head and followed with one to the groin. Then he grabbed and kneed the attacker twice before escaping. This is a good example of how combining techniques can be effective. These are the most common ways you will be attacked from the front. An attacker will enter your space and get close to you. Concentrate on keeping an attacker outside your space bubble until you decide to attack. Remember, the closer he is, the less time you have to react. In the next few situations, we'll assume the attacker already has you in their grasp. They could have caught you off guard, or it could be a date rape situation. Most attacks of this nature are to the wrists and throat. To get out of a wrist hold, twist your hand as if turning a doorknob and step back into the seesaw. If you're left-handed, twist counterclockwise. Right-handed, twist clockwise. In the seesaw, you're ready to strike.
Attack!
As the attacker grabbed her wrist, her only way to escape was to get her dominant hand free. She twisted it and stepped back quickly into the seesaw fighting stance. She countered with a palm heel and a snap kick before escaping. Let's look at another wrist hold situation.
Attack! Come on! Attack! Oh, yeah. Good job. Good.
Notice she twisted her left hand free and snapped into the seesaw. She quickly countered with a palm heel to the groin, then finished with a grab and knee. Notice she kneed twice. What's important here is quickly getting into the seesaw. Practice moving into your seesaw. Try to get faster and make the motion smoothly each time. Always step back with your dominant hand to the rear. Now let's look at some ways to defend against chokeholds. In most cases, the attacker will place both hands around your neck. You must snap back into the seesaw position and be prepared to attack. It's important not to attempt to pull the attacker's hands off you. Let's see an example.
Attack. Yeah.
Notice how she got out of the chokehold with a quick move to the seesaw. The attacker's hands fell forward as she broke away. She started her attack with a grab and knee twice, then she did a rear leg front snap kick before escaping. In the next example, the attacker leaves his upper body exposed.
Attack.
As she broke the hold, the attacker's hand fell, leaving his upper body open. She quickly attacked with a palm heel to the face and came back with a groin strike. Then she grabbed and threw 2 knees to his knee and thigh. Then she escaped. You can see being able to snap back into the seesaw fighting stance is important with frontal attacks. Practice snapping back into a good seesaw and being ready to attack.
The last attacks we'll cover are rear attacks. These are generally the most dangerous attacks because the attacker has decided to begin the encounter by physically assaulting you. The attacker wants to catch you off guard and get the advantage. In rear attacks, there are no negotiations. You must fight back immediately. Try anything, but most importantly, don't hesitate. In most cases, you'll surprise your attacker by fighting back immediately. Remember, someone who attacks you from behind wants to hurt you. The quicker you fight back, the better your chances of escaping.
There are 2 basic rear attacks that are most common: the one-armed choke and the over-the-arm bear hug. The one-armed choke is the most difficult to escape. You must remember to clear your throat and step to the side you're being choked from. Let's look at our first example.
Good.
Notice as the attacker choked with his left arm, she cleared with her left and stepped wide left. She squatted low and leaned forward. Then she countered with 2 elbow strikes, twisting her arm clockwise as she hit. Then she followed up with 2 hammer fists to the groin. She finished with an elbow strike, remember the lawnmower, and escaped. Now let's look at a one-armed choke from the opposite side.
Attack! Come on, Oscar. Noise! Run!
The choke came from the right. He cleared right and stepped wide to the right, squatted low and leaned forward. This allowed him to reach for the file cabinet with his left hand and issue 2 rear elbow strikes. Notice how the hand twists. He countered with 2 hammer fists and finished with an elbow strike to the head before escaping. Practice all the rear techniques. They will all work effectively in a rear attack. Spend time perfecting the clear your throat technique. Master it both ways. If you're in an over-the-arm bear hug, you must move quickly. The attacker may have complete control before you can react. As the attacker tried the bear hug, she quickly stomped on his foot, then exploded with a headbutt. Notice how she used her legs to drive through his head. 2 fast hammer strikes and a rear elbow bought her time to escape.
Attack! Come on, Kenny. Good. Run.
In this situation, she chose to start with a quick hammer fist to the groin. Her headbutt gave her separation and the time to perform an elbow strike. When you practice these escapes, always do multiple combinations. Always attack with 2 or 3 techniques at a time. Practice ground fighting. Work on getting up quickly. Also, make noise when you practice attacks. Your strikes in a real situation will be much more effective. Also, try striking real objects, pillows, or punching bags. Get used to hitting things.
After you escape an attack, there are 3 important things to do once you get to a safe place. Number 1, call the police. Number 2, write down a detailed description of the attacker and what happened as soon as possible. And finally, number 3, Check yourself for any injuries and get medical help if needed.
There's been a lot of information presented in this video. You probably won't be able to remember all of it after watching it once. Practice makes perfect. So the more you review and the more you practice the moves, the quicker you'll master counter tactics.
Remember, every situation is different because of all the variables involved. Nobody in the world has a perfect answer that would guarantee success in every situation. Your training has a direct relationship to your success. The better trained you are, the more successful you will be. Counter tactics trains your mind to keep you out of dangerous situations. Counter tactics also trains your body to protect itself and to escape from violent criminals. We hope you never become involved in a violent situation. But if you do, you're now better prepared to successfully react and protect yourself. And remember, be aware
and be prepared.
For more information on counterattactics training seminars, call 816-966-1310.